Hi, this is Bonnie, and first of all, I'm going to say today is kind of like a gray day outside, so I don't have the best lighting in the world. And two, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do today. I wanted to do something a little bit different. I saw this card on Pinterest I liked, and I thought, I wonder how I can translate that into using the products that I have. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing, so I hope you don't mind playing along. I know that I am going to be using Fairy Hugs Hoots, and I know that I'm going to be using this piece of paper, and I know that I'm going to be using some craft paper. I should have really measured this so I could tell you, not that it might not change, it could, because I've not made this yet. It's just in my head. This is 8.5 by about, let's see. It's just shy of 4 inches, but I would go ahead and make that 4 inches, just make it easier. 8.5 by 4. So the reason I have this out is I am going to be using Kitsch Flamingo and a little bit of spray on my blending brush, and I am going to cover this a little bit, enough so that I can stamp Hoots on top of this pink background. I don't know if you like to be surprised, but this is going to be kind of like a surprised video because we'll all be surprised at the end result. I was thinking today I want to start doing things that are Christmassy, and I was going to do something really, really simple, and then all of a sudden I saw this card and I thought, okay, this must be the direction I need to go in. And that's how I make my decisions sometimes. All right, so this is just a piece of cardstock, white cardstock that I'm coloring. And I know lots of people don't like to stamp on top of Distress Oxide with their pigment inks, but I'm going to be using VersaFine Clear Glamorous to stamp my owl on top of the pink. I didn't want a white background when I stamped it. I wanted him to have some color. Not that I could even change that too, you never know. So this is just how I start figuring out things, and lots of times I do it ahead of time before I do my videos, and I thought today I'd just take you along on a ride of how I sometimes figure things out. Okay, so this one has a little bit of fuzzy stuff on the back, driving me crazy. There we go. So, the card that I saw that I really liked used a cardinal, and I don't have in Fairy Hugs, there's not a big bird other than some of the owls, and I thought I could get the same look with this cute owl. Fairy Hugs has several owls, and they're various sizes. There's one that just came out in the winter collection that's really cute, and I would have liked to have used that one, but it was too small for what I want to do. And there's another one. Oh, there's another one that we have. All of a sudden, my mind, I can't remember his name, but he's a little bit bigger than this and does not have glasses, and he's more realistic looking. He could have worked also. All right, so that's more of a pinky look to me. I think I want more of a red. So like I said, I'm just testing this stuff out to see what I have that is more red. All right, so there's a tulip red. You guys probably know which color to go with better than I do, but I really wanted it to be more of a red. So we're gonna try this. I haven't even opened this one yet. We're gonna try this tulip red on top of it. I don't mind that color so much, except for I don't really want it to have, I know the background is pink, but I want it to have more of a red look. So, and I can see that that is pooling a little bit on top of that Distress Oxide. So this is more of a red. It's actually kind of an orange red. So of course I moved. Of course I took that off. So by taking that off, I'm going to totally mess that up. So I could either start again, or you know what else I can do? I'm going to see if I have some red embossing powder, if it's still wet. Hold on. All right, so I found that I do have an embossing powder. This one actually is the Distress Candied Apple Glaze, and that is more of the color I was looking for, and so it's going to work perfect. I'm going to go ahead and heat set that. Okay, so that was glossy goodness. I absolutely love that, and it's going to be perfect for what I want to do. Another thing I wanted to tell you, whenever you do have an, I want to say, when you go to stamp something and you're going to cut it out, if you have another color, or if you can come back in and even distress or whatever you want to call it, edge the color, then you don't have a bold white background. And that's kind of like what I have with this, and I didn't want the background to be so bold white. So anyway, my intention was just to cut this out anyhow, and I knew that this one was going to be relatively easy to cut out because it didn't have a lot of little lines and circles. The hardest things to cut when you fussy cut are those, I want to say swirls, curls, to try to get inside of that little curl. But this, even though there's a little bit of teeny tiny hair sticking out, or feathers rather, not hair, it's not too hard to cut around, and it's not going to look bad for what I'm going to do. It will blend in overall. So that's just one of my tips. If I want to be more fussy cutting, I can come back in here and cut away that little bit. But like I said, for what I'm going to do, it's going to be fine. And as you can see, it doesn't really take all that long to do this cutting, unless you want to be a little bit more particular. But like I said, he's going to be perfect. I wasn't really sure about a red owl, but it's going to work. I'm pretty sure. All right, so as I'm cutting this, I'm going to tell you some of the other things that I've pulled out to work with. And that is, I got some gesso, white gesso, and I'm also going to be using texture paste. And I'm also going to be using, there's a brand new stencil that Fairy Hugs put out. It is called, I think it's called Fairy Snowflake. I have to go look at that. But it's the Snowflakes stencil. And I'm going to be using that also. All right, so this is going to be the only part of this whole owl that takes a little bit more time, and that will be his claws. But again, it's not too bad. And as you can see, lots of times when you use embossing powder, you lose a little bit of the detail, because it tends to, I want to say, unless you use a real fine embossing powder, it kind of like fills in some of the fine details, but it's not bad. I'll show you when I'm done cutting a little bit closer. And some people don't really like the gloss to the embossing powder. Now, if you don't really like the gloss, there's a thing I saw that Tim Holtz does. If you don't really like the high gloss, you can come back in with, I think he uses steel wool very gently, and it takes away some of the shine. But as you can see, I was wanting to get a red color, and the stamp alone, the ink alone, from Glamorous didn't work. I don't think I would have liked, this is a little bit more of an orangey color anyway. I really like more of the pinky cherry red. So he's all done, and I want to show you in terms of the details. You can still see the details that were in that stamp. So it looks really good. So okay, next step, I'm going to get together. Okay, so for this next step, I kind of like have my owl where I'm wanting it to be, and I have just put some acrylic white gesso on my matte here. And I'm going to also use, Fairy Hugs has glitter powder, and this one's called Pixie Dust. And I am going to put some, I don't know how much of this will show up, but I'm going to put some pixie dust in this gesso and mix that up a little bit. And I think I might need a little bit more. I don't know that I'm going to need this much anyway, but I'm going to put a little bit more pixie powder in there. I mean, technically I can put it even on once it gets on there, but I know that this will stay in it, and then I'm hoping it shows up. It might not. So my intention is to have a little bit of snow coming this way. And I used a rougher brush because I wanted it to be, I don't know, more rough. Oh, I can see the glitter in that. So I'm just, like I said, kind of just painting across this. I'm trying to see, yeah. I might end up using all of it. I just want it to have like a snowy look, and I want it to have texture, which is why I couldn't really stamp on it. Because, I mean, you can stamp on gesso, but this one is a little bit more textured, and that's why I wanted to do it that way. I think that's going to work and give that little bit of a snowy look. Okay, I think what I'm going to do for what's left here is I'm going to water that down a little bit. I don't use as much as I can. And I'm going to use my fan brush. And I'm not that great at splattering, as I've told you in my past videos. Not so great. And see what I can do without him getting splattered. Let's see, yeah. So now I'm getting some splatters, which looks like part of the snow coming up, which I really like. And I'm just using, like I said, what's left over here to get that snow look coming off of that little snow. And I think that's going to work. That's going to give that look. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to come back in with the stencil and have some larger snowflakes with the texture paste. I'll be right back. Okay, so I am going to be using the texture paste from Ranger. And again, I am going to be adding some of the pixie dust because I do really want the sparkly. I'm not 100% sure how much of this paste I'm going to be using, but I don't want to use too much and waste it. So you can see the consistency of that paste. It's really perfect. It's not like toothpaste. It's a little bit thicker. And again, I'm going to be adding some of this glitter powder from Fairy Hugs. And it's very subtle. It's not like clunky. This one is not a chunky, not clunky. It's not a chunky glitter. So it's very fine. And but it does mix well in. I could have used a chunkier one for the snowflakes, and you know what? I think I'm going to. Just 1 second. I think I have the chunky one. Okay, so I do. There's two kinds. There's a fine pixie dust, and then there's a confetti one. And the confetti one is much chunkier. So I'm going to go ahead, even though I've already added the fine one, I'm going to add the chunky one as well. It's so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and add that and see if that even adds more to our prettiness. Yeah, okay. So I have already got the stencil set up on here. I don't want to, and what I'm trying to do is I don't want to get these ones on the ends because I want a full snowflake. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do it like this. I think it works. I'm avoiding this one right here because it doesn't have the end, although I'm probably going to cover that up, so it's probably not going to matter. So I don't know if you can see the glitter, but I can see it because of the light I have shining on it. So it's really pretty. Okay. And I really, really like this texture. And I might find a jar to save if I don't use all of it. We'll see. Sometimes it's just not worth doing that. Okay. This one might go off this side, and I think that's okay. It's going off the paper. I do have to move that slightly because I'm getting off of my mat. I'm probably having a lot more snowflakes than that original idea, but I don't know why. I just really love these snowflakes. I think they're perfect. And then I think what I'm going to do, looking at this, is there's some tiny ones you can see throughout the big ones. And I'm going to put some of those over here in this other corner. Oh, I started doing that one. I got to finish it. I don't want a half of a snowflakes and then lift it up and try to put it back on too hard. All right, I'm almost there. This is called more of a fussy stenciling. I think I got it. All right, go ahead and look at that and see the reveal. See, I think that's really pretty. I probably could have put some up there, but we'll see how that goes. I am going to definitely pull out just really fussy. Like I'm just going to put that one right there. Try to be really fussy about it. Again, some of the stuff's going to be slightly covered up. Not over here, but maybe a little bit over here. So there's that one. That looks pretty good. I don't need a lot over here. It's just for, I gotta be careful when I set this back down. I'm not gonna smash ones I've already done, which always makes it hard unless I wait for it to dry. But I think I can get it. Yeah, that one's gonna smash it. Well, you know what? I am gonna wait. I'm not gonna ruin what I have on there by doing that. So I'll come back, let those dry. Meanwhile, just to let you know, some things you can do while you wait for yours to dry. You can actually start on another part of this project. I decided I am going to be using, this is my favorite, absolute favorite, Magical Hollow Enchanted dies from Fairy Hugs. This is how big it is. It's just a really, really cool die. And what I did is I cut it out of sparkling, I don't know if you can even tell, it is glitter paper. It's so pretty. So that's going to go on here with my owl. I'm not going to probably use it the way it is. I'm probably going to snip and just use some of it as the branches, because that's really what I want, is for the bird to be sitting on branches. But we'll see. So go ahead, if you've got this, you can get that done while you're waiting for your snowflakes to dry. Okay, so I kind of had this laid out the way that I want it to go, and I decided I wanted a little bit more texture to the snow part down here. So I'm going to use some cheesecloth, and I'm going to glue that on. And I just wanted to give you an idea of kind of like what I'm going for with the owl. And I'm just using just some glue down here to keep the cheesecloth in place. And I kind of like to sort of wrinkle that up a little bit even before I put it on. And then I wrinkle it up even more. Kind of like pull it apart. Just going to give it a little bit more texture. See, I just kind of gather it with my fingers when I put it on. I don't really want it hanging off a whole lot. So that's kind of the look I try to get. I don't want to lose that snowflake too much. I like it. So that gives us a little bit more texture. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing is, like I said, I know this is going to go on here. And the owl's going to sit on it. And I was trying to get the best place I wanted it to be. I am not going to have this whole thing on. It's just going to be part of it, I think, and then come back and use a little bit more underneath. So, like I said, I think I'm going to have it. I'm trying to look at it even through what you're seeing to see if that looks like it's kind of balanced off. I'll probably need to still have something more down here. We'll see. I think that's going to work. So what I'm going to do then is just straight away cut this across because it's not going to hang over the edge. I'm going to be losing a few of those pieces. And then I'll use this again coming down this way because that will work. Okay, so now I know how that's going to go. But before I actually put that on, I have something that goes underneath. I might have to even put some of this up here. I'm not sure. We'll see. All right, so the next thing I want to do, as you can tell, I'm not done it yet, so I'm not really sure. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to be using this, this is a thicker twine, and then I also have kind of like a medium twine. Show you the difference between the two so you can kind of see. Yeah. So what's going to happen with this is it's going to go straight across here and it's going to get stapled on. And I'm going to need to get my stapler. But before I get the stapler, I'm going to show you this part. Okay, I'm only using a piece of this to go across. Kind of almost like, it's not a branch, but kind of like it. So I tested this out to see, I want to make a tassel. And I'm going to use my 3 fingers. And I'm just going to wrap this around several times to kind of make a tassel. It's going to come down there. All right, so now I've got that circle, right? So I've got another piece of this twine already cut. And I'm going to tie that through and make a knot to keep that together. So it kind of looks like, what do you call those, a rodeo rope? All right, so like I said, I'm making it a tassel. So I'm going to pull that down together. I need another piece of twine. This is not, and then I'm going to start wrapping that. I'm going to cut this a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that and I'm going to wrap that. I'm going to keep this a little bit longer, sorry, because I have to tie it off. Okay. So leave it enough so I can tie it off. And pinch that closer together. And I'm just going to wrap that. That one piece is going to be in my way. But I had to have it there. So, okay. I'm wrapping that around. And that should be good to hold that together. And then I'm going to cut that. This is where it would be really nice to have an extra pair of hands, but this works. And I'm just knotting that off. So it's going to be kind of like I said, a tassel. It's not a real pliable tassel because obviously I'm using twine. All right, so I've got that. I probably should have tied that knot going the other direction so that would hang down. So hold on. Tie it in the opposite direction. I think they call that a fisherman's knot. And then it goes in the other direction. Okay. So, the bottoms of this. I'm going to cut through all those loops. And I'm going to even up those tassels. I really usually do this over the trash. So it's like a little haircut. And then that ends up being my tassel. It might be a thicker tassel than what I really probably needed, but it works. Okay? And then I have my end here tied on. So that's going to go at the bottom down here. I'm going to kind of like tie that on. But first, I need to staple this piece on, so I need to go get my stapler. Okay, I'm back with my stapler. Gonna get this out of the way. It's stuck. No. Of course it's stuck. There we go. Alright, so I know I'm going to put the one side here. And of course I couldn't find my regular everyday stapler. But that works. Now make sure that's semi-straight. Coming across. There we go. So that's good. And then for this one, it's just going to kind of like hang across there. And I think that will get covered up. So let me check that again. Yeah, so I'm going to put a staple right there to keep that in place. Even if it shows, I really don't care. All right. There we go. And then we're going to have one on this side too, I think, a little bit. Easier than getting the hot glue out sometimes. Just staple that up. Okay. So, back to what we were doing. Oh, wrong piece. Okay. So yeah, that for the most part will cover that up. We're going to glue that down. It's kind of, I guess, as it all turns out, it's not just, this is not just a stamping. Actually, it's hardly any stamping at all, quite frankly. Come on, glue. There we go. It's more of a mixed media type card than it is just stamping, which some days I just need to do something a little bit different. All right, let's see if we can get that to stick. I think we can. Alrighty. Hold that down just for a few seconds. Now, for the owl, I will use foam tape. And this is really getting glued on top of the snowflakes up there. I think it's gonna work. Yay! All right, I think that'll work. But I will add more glue if I need to. Alrighty. Let's see how this can work. I don't know, I think I want to keep this one piece for up there, maybe not. See how our owl looks on there. Yeah. I definitely know it needs a little bit on that other side. I'm just not really sure which way I want to go with it. I think like that. Maybe I want it to still have a little bit more of a circle. I wish I could ask you guys, like, what do you think? What do you think? I think I'm going to go that way. So just so that I know where I'm putting it, I'm going to come across. That one piece is not going to, I'm not going to ruin that piece right there. If I cut that, I won't be able to use it at all. So we're going to go like this. And that will allow me to still use that one piece right there. Won't be, I can glue that on. Trim that up a bit later. Okay, see, this piece I'll still be able to use. This piece, we'll see. So, more glue. I'm afraid doing this kind of stuff actually takes time, and thinking it through takes time. So this video is going to be a little bit longer. You can always come back and watch parts of it later, if you want. All right, I think we went like that. Oh no. Yep, more like that. That's why it kind of helped for me to cut that up there. And I don't care if that doesn't totally get glued down either, if it stays up, because I kind of like a little bit of texture that way too. All right, now I'm going to fix this because I have it, so I can use it. Because otherwise I know I'll not, if I don't use it, it'll get, if it gets put someplace, I'll never use it. It's just how it goes. I'm not really sure if I can. I think I can. I think I can add that down there and it'll work. I think it will. Or I can just add more here. And that actually covers up the staple even more. Yeah. We'll do that. Okay. Don't make it tuck underneath there to look like it's part of it. And get it to cooperate. There, that works. Okay. I think we're all glued down. And then we're going to go ahead, because now I can put the owl on and build around the owl. I'm going to use a foam tape. And I think he's going to have to stand up a little bit higher at the top, so I'm going to double that up. Let's just make sure, because he's going to be sitting on this, so he's got to be a little bit taller. Always check. Yeah, if it sits there, he's going to be good. I think that'll work. I'll put that underneath. Okay. Getting a lot of scraps in the way. Okay, let's take a look. See if he sits there well. Yeah. I think that's going to work. All right, so I can see straight away he's probably going to need another. He's going to need another one underneath, so we'll get that. I don't like it when it bows. It means it doesn't have enough foam. And this particular foam I'm using up is very thin. It's not very, it's not thin, it's squishy. So it's not as substantial as the other foam that I've used in the past. All right, so I added another layer. Yeah, now he sits up better. See? Yeah, okay. So the other, I've got more things I'm going to put on, but I know for sure I'm putting these two things on, and these are buttons. And what I did is I cut some circles. This was hole punch circle. This was cut because they're just buttons. And I'm going to put these on as well. And I'm just using glue for right now. Should work. All right, it's a pretty good glue for holding the stuff on. I'm trying not to go over that really big bump there because I know it's harder for it to stay the glue. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in the center to give me my sparkle. I might have to put an acrylic block on top of this to keep it down for a bit. Okay, we've got two things going. All right, so I've got a few more things I need to add and get them out to see what it needs. I can tell it needs something more. I'm not really sure what that's going to be yet, so I'm going to get those things out and I'll be right back. Okay, so my dinosaur's been standing by helping me out with my card because he's like a paperweight and he works really great. And I used my acrylic block to push everything down to put it in place. Yay! So, I went ahead and cut some snowflakes. These are Tutti Designs snowflakes called Snow Flurries. It's always hard to find them because they're not called snowflakes, they're called Snow Flurries. So in as much as I have, I really like these in the background, I wanted some filler that would work really well. I'm not really sure I'm going to put all these, but it works really good. You get all of these in one set. So we'll see how that works. And plus, because these are matte and not, I know it's a different texture altogether, they look different. So this is the largest one. And it probably is really going to go back up in here. We'll have to see how that all works out. I always arrange things and then and then I come back and change things around, but we'll see. I do want something up here behind him, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. This is the tiniest one. Okay. Oh, I'm missing one. Yep. All right. Whoops. So I think that might work. Getting those all together in there, maybe. Yep. And then we'll have our tiny one somewhere. Sometimes I don't use them all, but I think I will. And that's probably a little bit lost there, but you know, I kind of like lost the inspector, so maybe I'll add it. Nah, maybe there. All right. So that's just a matter of, and this one's going to go over the side a little bit and have to be cut. Not a big deal. And then I usually add gems to the center of these to more sparkle. All right. And I usually add a little bit more glue to the ones going on top of the cheesecloth because it has to soak through to the underneath part, or it just glues to the very top of the cheesecloth. One more. It's not exactly, I never know how things are going to turn out when I make things. It's not exactly what I kind of like envisioned, but I think it works. Okay, I want a little bit more color, so I also pulled out some sequins that I had, green. I'm going to add a little bit of green. I really do like the red and white, but I think I need a little bit of green. So, whoa, I didn't need that many. Yeah, they might sit there till we're done because the electricity sticks to them and they get everywhere. Okay. So I have a bunch of variations with these. I'm not really sure. I don't know if I want, they're sticking to me like crazy because of electricity. Static electricity. I don't know if I like the clear ones on there, but they want to stick to me. All right, I think I'm going to use the shiny ones. And it's just going to help me tie in a little bit with the red, I think. Although they would look really nice on top of the snowflakes as well. But I think I was going to put gems there, so I'm going to stay with my plan. Yep, sticking to my finger. This one does not want to stick. There we go. I think it works better if I put the glue down and then put the sequins on top. There we go. All right, I think I'm going to go with another color. Not another color, but a different. It might have to be those clear ones, because the other color greens are not particularly the green I want. All right, so we're going to go, I think, off to the side. Yep. I'm going to have these sequins on me all day. All right. I don't know, there we go. I forgot where I put the glue. Okay. So if I can get those back in the jar out of my way while I'm trying to finish this off, I'm going to get the gems out and put the gems on and see if there's something else we need to add. Otherwise, we'll be done. Okay, so I'm back with my gems, even though I've got glue all over my fingers. Let's see if we can get these on. And the gems I'm using have kind of like, I don't know how to say it too, like a rainbow, not quite that bright, but kind of like a rainbow look to them. So they're not just plain white or clear. And let's see here. I've got the tiny one up there. And one more. Yep. All right. I think we're going to go with that. I think it looks it's different. I mean, did a lot of techniques in here. We used the gesso. We used the texture paste. I could think I would say paper paste, the texture paste, and we added the glitter. And for real, you can really see I'm trying to see if you can see it on here. I can't tell, but for real, you can see the glitter and everything. Even behind in the gesso, you can see it for real. And then we did a little bit of, we did a tag or a tassel and cheesecloth. So we really did, and we did the embossing. So there was a lot going on in this one. I hope you enjoyed making, or at least watching it, so that maybe you can make one similar or something using some of those techniques. I really am thankful that you stopped by, and I hope to see you again really soon.